Hi guys, welcome to the video number 339. I'm back again, and this time I'm very excited because we are actually going to again upload a video. We are going to discuss again on something which is very beneficial, which can be very beneficial for all of you. This is a question which I have received from one of my subscriber who keeps on writing me after like almost every month, and every time I receive his email, every time I receive his questions, they are wonderful. So in this video we're going to talk about how to make the Outlook code, how to set up the connection between the Excel and the Outlook. And what you need to do is you need to track your replies from your client based on the project IDs. So welcome to the channel. My name is Ajay, and I take immense pleasure in introducing my channel because of the simple reason that when I started this channel, 2 years back, I have one aim that I'm gonna make everybody awesome in Excel VBA Access and Access VBA. And now I'm getting a lot of comments, a lot of appreciation from all of you, and trust me, it really pushes me to actually challenge my all the previous videos and to come up with something really more exciting, better than the previous video. So thank you so much for your love. And if you're watching the channel for the first time, I just take 15 seconds, go to the playlist and find out all these different 42 playlists. You will see here the set Excel VBA Access VBA videos. This video is going to be on the Outlook. So if you scroll it down, you would somewhere find the category connecting Outlook from the Excel. We have 25 amazing videos on that, and this is going to be the 26th video in this series. So let's start the video, and I'm gonna read out this question for you first of all, as I always do. So Mr. Alam has written me this this actually email. Hi Ajay, I have a question on Outlook. I have a client and I want to put a check if I have received the client email on my last email sent or not. For example, there is an email for some project which was sent to him after we finished it. Let us say project 1 and then hyphen status done, having the title. All right, so sending an email to client, in the subject line he's writing project 1 status done. Okay, there's so many other such different projects. All right, if client does not email us, then we would be assuming it is no more required and we will close it from our end. If the client has replied on that email, we would like to know automatically that our email for that subject line is replied. But we don't want to search that email manually. VBA code, if we can make, please assist. Regards, Mehboob Alam. So thank you so much again for such a wonderful question. Now I'm going to actually open the Outlook and I'm going to tell you what exactly we're looking forward to. Now guys, just assume that I'm working in the office and I have a project, and the project number is, let's say, 5555, or it could be anything, doesn't really matter. So I'm done with my project, and that project for the payment, let's say I'm going to write the email to my client that we have done the project, so I'm expecting the payment. So what I do, let's say I'm writing this email to myself, that's my Outlook email ID, and let's say I write here the project ID name. You can write whatever you want, that's up to you, as I said. So let's say this is the project ID, and in the body of this email body you can write whatever you want, and you just send this email to your client. Now the point is, when you are sending the email, obviously it's going to be shown in the sent item, right? But when the client is going to reply you, okay, if she is going to reply you, then one thing we generally always know that in our office environment, if somebody is replying on your email, they never change the subject line. Right? So this is something, if they reply on this email, the project ID 5555 would remain there. Next they can do, they can add a couple of things here, maybe like they can add hyphen. We still need to talk on that, or maybe they can change the body content also, but generally subject line never changes, and this is what I assume also. Okay? So now what happens, let's say the client replied, and this is what exactly the client, let's say Ajay, has replied, and this is the project ID. What we want to do is, what the is all about, now in your inbox you will have hundreds of emails. So we want to, let's say at the end of the month, we want to compile when it is the time to check that who all actually have reverted us and who did not revert us, and accordingly we can close their project, and accordingly we can see that if we have to keep the project open or close, whatever. So the idea is to run a loop inbox. Okay, so what you need to do is, we are going to run the loop in your this inbox, because this is the inbox folder. If there is some another folder, you can do that, right? There's no problem. I'm going to tell you about that as well. You might be knowing, if you have watched if you're following my channel regularly, there are 23, 24 videos in the Outlook category. So we have talked about these things, how to define the folders and subfolders. But anyways, I will discuss this in this video as well. So we are going to run the loop and we are going to check every email. So what I'm going to do is, if any email contains project ID word, or maybe any email contains 5555, then I'm going to create a folder with that project ID. Yes, we are going to create the folder. We are going to create the subfolder then and there, and we're going to transfer that email to that folder, so that when the macro finishes, you just go to that folder and see if there is any email over there or not. In fact, if the folder is created, then that means that that client has replied on that particular subject ID, on that particular subject title. So that's what we need to do, guys, right? So let's go ahead. And so what is the first thing you want to do? Now I have said this in many of my videos, and I'm again repeating. First thing, because it is going to be your Outlook code, we will set up the Outlook application, as simple as that. And we are going to use the early binding method, guys. We are not going to use the late binding method. If you don't know what is early binding, late binding, please go ahead and search in this playlist, because I don't remember which playlist was it. So I beg your pardon, don't search for the playlist, but search in that search tag, right there, early binding and late binding. You will understand what I'm saying. Early binding means we are going to use the Outlook library. Now, once we have the Outlook library, we're going to use couple of the classes. For example, I'm going to use the namespace class. Now in the Outlook, have a namespace class which is used for the folders, because you're going to deal here with the folders. You have to create the folder. First, you have to define which folder you're going to work. That is going to be your inbox. So for that, we need the namespace. Then you're going to create the folder, right? So we need the folder as well. So I'm going to use the folder class as well, I think, because we will have to create the folder. Create the folder. Okay, so I'm going to write here to create the folder. What is the next thing we want to do? Well, the next thing we want to do, we want to run the loop. Okay, we want to run the action loop for each email in the folder.emails, and we want to check that if we have that email with that subject title. So we are going to use the another class, which is the mail item. You will have to know these classes if you want the good understanding on the code. I don't want you to copy and write the code, that's it, right? Because many times you guys ask me that if there is some workbook available which you can download. Well, the thing is, honestly, I haven't thought about it, but I'm now thinking maybe I would create some link from where you can download these files. But guys, trust me, if I'm putting so much effort, it's just that I want you to be want you to understand the concept, right? So right now what I'm telling you is, it should make a sense to you that which class you're supposed to use under which scenario. So if you have to create the folder, you got to use namespace. If you have to define the folder, you have to use the namespace again. If you have to play around with the emails, you want to send the emails, you want to transfer the emails, or whatever, in this email we are going to, as I said, in the Outlook, we're going to check every email one by one, that which email has that subject, because you never know email is going to be on which index. It might be here, it might be here. Who knows that? We in the inbox we keep like 100, 300, 500, 6,000, not 6,000 actually, but 600, 700 emails. So we're going to have a loop over there, and every time all the emails are going to check, and that is why we're going to use the mail item class. Okay, and I guess afterwards what we are going to do is we're going to put the if conditions. So that is a different thing that has nothing to do with the Outlook class. So basically these are the classes which we are going to use, and we're going to use the collection loop. What is the collection loop? The collection loop is for each email in your folder emails. This is how basically, if I have to with the understanding the layman language, then this is how you can read that code, but technically it is going to be a little different. So anyways, let's go ahead and start the the video now. So I'm going to insert the module first of all. There we have the module, and the first thing which I told you, we got to create the Outlook object. So I'm going to press M. I'm using actually Microsoft Outlook 2016. Whatever you use, you got to make it first activated, as simple as that. So I'm going to make this activated 16.0 because I'm using 2016. This is required. There we go. I'm going to write this. So I will name this email project. email project check. Okay, now we're going to start the code. So what we are going to do here is, first of all, we'll define our Outlook. So I'm going to define it dim Outlook as Outlook application. This is how we define it. You must be knowing that if you're following the channel. Otherwise, this is how we write. These lines are important because you run these lines, basically your Excel VBA will come to know that a user wants to connect with the Outlook. So obviously the Outlook interface will be ready for you, right? So the next thing you want to do, we are going to create the folder. Which folder you are talking about? I assume that you're going to work in the inbox, because generally in the inbox, you receive the emails. So what I will do, I'm going to use my ONS. It's just the variable. You can declare whatever you want. So I'm just going to write it as ONSP and then Outlook dot namespace. Right, so dot namespace is there, and this is how, guys, you define it. Set ONSP equals to Outlook dot get namespace, and then you're gonna write in the codes MAPI, message application protocol interface. I might be a little incorrect here. I'm not able to remember P stands for what, but I think it is actually a protocol. But you can Google it, right? And my apologies if I'm going to be incorrect on that. But basically, when you define this line, that means you are now ready to set up your folder. You are ready to define your folder, because this namespace class is used for the folders. So now we want to run this loop where? We want to run this loop in the inbox folder. So you got to define my folder, let's say, and I'm going to define it outlook.folders, because I'm going to use the folder class. Now what you will do, you will write set FOL equals to, and now, guys, here you're going to use this namespace ONSP. Look at this, because this opens the channels for you to decide to pick up your folder, right? You see this dot, so when you're gonna write get default folder, you can choose the folder. That is why we have now written this ONSP as get namespace MAPI. Okay, what is your folder? Are you gonna work on calendar, there are a lot of things, contacts, deleted item, draft. So generally I think nobody works on these deleted contacts, right? I mean, at least when you're going to access the emails. So my choice would be inbox. Now the question comes, if you are not working on the inbox, let's say your emails, every email is in the dummy, and in the dummy folder you want to run that loop and you want to check that, whether that reply is there or not, because maybe you have to, you have in some rule that whenever you receive the email from this client, it goes to this folder. So don't worry, I'm going to tell you the solution for that. This is what you need to do. You just need to write here dot folders, okay, and then write the folder name, a subfolder name, which is in your inbox, and within the quotes. That's it. That means now you're going to deal with the folder. Okay, so I'm going to just copy this and I'm going to paste it here. Let's comment this, because this is not the target, this is not my target. I'm going to keep it simple, inbox, but this is for your knowledge, because I don't know, I mean, you all are watching after all the video. Now who knows where you have your emails there, but I'm just trying my best to give you all the solution. Okay, anyways, you always, that you can always give your comment and you can write on the channel, and I'm trying, I always try to be very quick in replying you, because I really don't like people wait until I have some emergency and or I'm stuck in the answering your emails, because sometimes it, I am just actually like, over flooded with your emails, so that might be the time I may reply you late, otherwise not. Okay, so guys, so far we have created the folder. What is the next thing you want to do? Next thing you want to do is we want to use the mail item class, because now we're going to run the loop for every email in the folder, which is your myFOL, right? So we're going to use the class same while I write my mail, or whatever you want to write. I can write omail as well as outlook dot mail item. This is how we define, and we're going to write omail equals to and outlook, which is your Outlook application, create the email. Item and OL mail item. This is what you need to use. Now going forward, this OMail is going to be treated as your email. If you look at my Excel, what I have written here for each email in folder.emails. For each email means for every email. right? So what is your email now? Your email is what? It's obviously mail. That's what you have declared here as mail item, right? In folder emails. So where is your folder? Well, my folder is MOFOL, which is equals to inbox dot email items. So this is how you write items actually. Right? Don't write emails, I mean items. Next. Now here what will happen, if you run the code, you will get to see all the emails one by one. If I just put here message box and I write here subject, let's say I want to get the subject of the email. If I just run it quickly, look at this, what will happen. Got the first email with the subject line attachment 2, no data, NCR, data 2, 4, festival numbers, thing going on, ideas, hello, test 1, test. Oh, there are a lot of emails. Sorry about that. Right, project ID. Oh, there we go. This is what we need to target, guys. This is what we need to target. This is what we need to target, right? So gonna hit on this project ID 5555. All right, so there we go. All the mails are finished, and I can show you these are all the emails which you have just accessed using the VBA. This is something which I'm not telling you something, you know, it's not really new thing. If you are not my subscriber, if you are not following the channel, of course it is going to be a new thing for you, but I have talked about these, you know, these kind of a stuff in my all those 25 videos. So this is not something really new. What is new is now we are going to start, guys. Now I know that the code works. I wanted to show you how the code is going to work. Now here we are going to run the we want to put the condition. So here I will write if my mail subject contains what project ID or maybe 5555, that's up to you. And I just simply write here project ID and 5555, or maybe just a project ID number, because many project ID numbers are very unique. And if you meet 20-25 people through Outlook, I mean if you exchange the information, chances are very less that somebody is gonna send you the email on this project ID, because this is any kind of a unique numbers. Only those people will revert you with this number, with whom actually you're working for that project. So I will write project ID contains, because when they are going to reply, then this subject title can be altered, right? If let's say my client has replied and he said project ID -555, and in the bracket he said this is done. So in that case you can't use the equals to sign, because then they are going to reply, and you also know that when somebody replies, the re word get prefixed with the subject line. So you don't use the equals to sign. Instead we will use contains, and this is how you write like, and then we're going to put the star means anything can come before that. So I'm going to use the and operator, and I'm going to write here 5555. So again I'm going to join it with another star. Now star means, I have talked about this in my previous videos also. If you don't have any idea, these are called the wild characters. Go ahead and watch Excel count and some family playlist. There you will see the use of the wild characters. There is a video there, use of wild characters. Star means that anything can come before and after 5555, but this would be there, contains, right? So if that is the case, what we want to do, if that is the case, we want to create a folder with that name, right? So how to create the folder? Well, we're gonna create the folder. Now look at this. So what we are going to do is this is your original folder, which is my FOL. You have to define here one more folder, okay, which you want to create. So I'm going to write here my dim let's say second folder as Outlook folder. Okay, then we are going to define this second folder is equals to what? This second folder is going to be equals to what? So we need to create this folder inside this my FOL, which is your inbox folder. Okay, so this is what we need to create. Now let me delete this, because right now we haven't created anything. That's the first thing. If I come back here, what I will do here, I will simply write if subject of the email is going to contain 5555, then my folders, this is how you write add. You're gonna add the folder. You're gonna add the folder with what name? That is now another thing. So we're gonna add the folder name by maybe 5555. That's what we need, right? So I'm going to write here 5555. Okay. Now you can also do one thing. You can also concatenate it with the date, so that the date when you have checked, will be able to get that date. But anyways, I'll just first finish this thing. Okay, so the folder should be created, and when the folder is going to be created, in that folder the email should be moved. What is your email? Whatever the current email would be there, at that point in time. So we would like to move that email. You're gonna move that. You will have to move that destination folder. So what is your destination folder? Well, my destination folder would come from the second folder, which is going to be this one, second folder. Okay, so now what you need to do is, I'm gonna set this second fol equals to my fol ons e.get default folder, which you're gonna get from here, and in the this folder, which is ol folder inbox, we're going to create that folders, and then this is what I'm going to write, which is going to be your 5555. Okay, now if you for a second, let me just complete the code. First of all, we're going to write else do nothing, obviously, because if the email doesn't have that stuff, then we just like to finish it off. Okay, so this is the code which is in front of you. Right, I'm going to run this code, and let's actually troubleshoot this code, because it may not function, so we will have to understand how it is going to work. All right, so the first thing which I'm going to run, there we go, everything looks good, code is running. Okay, this is what we need to see. Look at this, arrays index out of the bond. Well, I was expecting this error. So the point is, this line means that you are actually saying that this object, which is second folder, is going to be equals to the folder which is 5555. Guys, 5555, we have not even created it yet. Do you see that? It's not there. That is the reason when you ran this my folder line, this line which I am right now, in my cursor, this line did not give you the error. You know why? Because this folder is already created, right? If this folder is already created, why would it give you the error? But this is not done. How can you say that this is equals to this? Because it doesn't exist. So what you need to do, getting my point, first you need to create the folder, and then you're gonna define it. So let me reset the code. Once you find this line, ol folder inbox, what is the next thing you want to do? You want to actually cut this line, and you want to put it here, guys, so that this folder can be created. Once that can be created, you can define it using second folder, because it's already created. And then what is the next thing you want to do? Well, here, if that mail captures this 5555, it's simply going to move that to the second folder, which you have to find in this line. So let's go ahead and run the code again. I'm going to run this. There we go. Look at this line. This should create a folder. Oh boy, folder is created. Awesome. You see that? Folder is created, and now we're going to refer this line. Now let us see if this line is going to give us the error. No error. And as I said, because we have already created that folder and can refer to that now. All right, now we're going to have the loop here. What is your first email? Let us check. It's attachment 2, so definitely it will go in the else mode. What is the next email? It's no data. Again, nothing will happen. It goes in the else mode. What is the next end here? Nothing will happen. Data 2. Test 4. Possible numbers. Testing going on. This detail. Hello. Test 1. Test 2. Neither this one. Project ID. Wow, this is coming now. Let's see now where it is gonna. You see that this is the email, project ID 5555, and I'm seeing that email which contains 5555. So it contains. Let's see where it is going to run. There we go. See that is going to run now. Now this email has to move to my second folder, and you know what is my second folder? It is 5555. So please have your eyes on this email. Let me just see where it is. Yeah, it's an email, right? So it should be moved. There we go, guys. Look at this. The email actually moved, and if I click here, it should be there, right? So anyways, let me finish up the code first, and the code finishes. Let me click here, and there we go. You have the email, guys. Now you can look at this code, look at this folder, and you can see that, you know, if the email is there, these are all the rewards, right? So what we can do is, every day if you run this, maybe you can create a folder with the date, so that you know that this 5555 gets created where. So maybe you can here, when you're creating the folder here, can actually I think you can concatenate it with the date. Okay, so the date, we would not like to create the date. Maybe we would like to keep the day of it, you know, that would be great. Or not date, then maybe the month, if you're running it on the monthly basis. I mean, that's all up to you. So what I will do, basically, this is the date function. Okay, this is how you use it with the date. Now, if I have to run this, let me just run it and see if the date can be created. Oh yeah, this is wonderful, guys. You can do that. Then just create the hyphen here. Maybe that would be great. I can create the hyphen with this, right? So if I just run the code again, let me reset it. This looks much better. Look at this, right? It is 02/19/2017, and if you want to change the code further, you can use the text function here, the format function, and define your date in the different way. For example, you need DDD if you use this kind of a stuff, and then YYY. Now, if I run this line, just a second, you run this line, let me reset the code. And if we run this, let's see how it is going to. I think this is much better. So you have triple D as, you know, the day, which is SUN, and if you write 3 times M, this is going to be FEB. I've talked about all this in my formatting, you know, the videos, how to format the cells. So I think this would be much nicer, because, you know, the next day when you come and run it, it will be a different date. So folders will never be clashed. Right now, why I'm telling you this, because of the simple reason. For example, I just comment this line, I'm just gonna copy this and paste it. Suppose happened, you haven't added anything, and this is your folder. This is your simple folder. Now point is, let me delete everything here. So let's just go ahead and delete the folder. Here we go. Let me delete this as well. Right click, and I'm just gonna delete it. Suppose today is Sunday, right, and I'm gonna run this. Check that whether the emails are there or not. Now somebody, or maybe I had already, you know, run it yesterday or day before yesterday, or maybe a week back, you know, anytime. What will happen, you're gonna run this code. This time this line will give you the error, we cannot create a folder, and the reason is pretty simple, because this is already created. That is why it is good to concatenate it with the date. There can be other solutions as well. I mean, you can also put the error handler. If this error comes which says cannot create the folder, you know, it should skip this line. I mean, there are different ways of that, but I don't want to really make it that complicated. Let's simply use this format date, and you will have that folder. So ultimately what will happen, for example, we just use this line. What you need to do is, before you go to the folder, also you can write here, you can put here check equals to, me write here as true, for example. This or I can write here chk. Chk is a function which will keep us, I'm just gonna declare here as boolean. Boolean is a data type, guys, which returns always either true or false. I hope you know that. So we're gonna put here in the beginning as true, maybe false. So chk variable, when the code is going to run, it is going to have a false. So if your code finds this email, so obviously it has to go through this line, and then chk will change from false to true. So what you can do is, at the end of the code over here, you can set up the communication, and you can say that if check is equals to true, then that means that there are the emails, right, which actually you found. So we can write here message box emails found, and moved to the folder, okay, folder of this client. This is what you can write, whatever you want to, I mean, that's all up to you. Else, if the chk is not going to be true, then what you can do, you can write here else message box no email found, no email found by this client, or maybe no reply found, whatever you want to write, and if that's it. Now you know that in my inbox there is as such no line which says that contains 5555. So if I just go ahead and run this, see what's going to happen. No email found by this client. Perfect, that's what I wanted. So there's no need to go to the folder. Just in case, if I just move this folder back to the inbox, so let me just put it in the inbox, and now it's in the inbox, you can see here. So if I just run this code again here, first mail should be moved to the 5555 folder, and at the same time we should have this prompt email found and moved to the folder, right? And by the way, this is the folder, actually this is the folder, this is not the folder. Let me just delete that. Okay, so now let me run the code. So let me just delete this as well. And as a beginner, I'm gonna run this. Now if I delete this and I just run this, for example, see what is going to happen. Index, okay, so we got the error, the folder is created but there is some problem. Let's go ahead and check. Let me debug it. Okay, so what is the issue? All right, so I got the issue actually. So what happened, folder got created, and this we have to actually refer to basically. Now what you're saying is your second folder is equals to 5555, and 5555 is not there, right? Basically we have changed the folder, right? So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna quickly copy this line. I'm gonna paste it here because this is what is created, and this is what you are actually now telling that UCCFOL has to be equals to this folder. Okay, so let me put the break, one more actually closing bracket, and there we go. The code runs, and I'm gonna press F5 again. Emails found and moved to the folder of this client, guys. Perfect. What else you need? Now you can go to this folder, and not only you got the information before you actually jump into this folder, at the same time email is also there, right? I want to tell you one thing, because many of you will ask me, so what happens, Ajay, if I run this code after every 5 hours or after every half an hour, because email can come any point in time? Because now if I run this again in the same day, I've told you about the option. If you run it on the different days, a different folder will be created, and previous folder you can delete them. I mean, that's what you can do. But what if you're gonna run the code again in the same day? Again, this will have a problem. If you create this folder will not be created because we have already created it, and because you're running on the same date, you have the problem. So what we can do in that situation, because we know the code is actually going to work, so maybe you can try for this. You can write here on error resume next, if this is going to work. So on error resume next means that if there will be any error, that should be simply ignored. On the top I can write this line. Now if I just show you, let me just move that to the inbox again. Now this folder is empty. We have the file here, the project ID. So we're gonna run this code. Let's see if it is going to move that and gonna give us the proper message box. So I click here, I'm gonna run this. Here we go. Emails found and moved to the folder of this client, and let's quickly have a look on this, and I think this is working. You have your email, and from the inbox it is completely removed. So guys, you can put the on error resume next as well. If you have to use the on error resume next, you can also manage with this line as well. This will also be ignored if it is already created, right? Still, I have given you all the options. If you want to run it, you want to keep a track, I think this is the best way. You can keep the track when you last time ran it, and the emails are there, so the latest email you can always check. Otherwise, you can simply use 5555 as well. Right? So this is how the code is going to work. And now those who actually if they find some problem in when they write this code and they send this to one, and they come back to you say, and they say that the prompt is coming user type not defined, then please understand, you have to tell them that if you're sending this file, if I send this file to you, let's say, and you're using any Excel lower version, I'm using the highest version, which is 16.0. so this library, when you're gonna run my Excel file from here, you're gonna run, hit on that button, the macro, you will get here missing library, because you don't use the Outlook 16.0. so you have to tell your audience in advance that if they are using the lower version, they have to uncheck this, because that would show there is a missing. Then they have to find their own library by pressing M, and they go to their Microsoft Outlook, whatever version they have, 15.0, 14.0 or 12.0. 13 they don't consider it, because that is a kind of unlucky number. So that's how you have to tell them. But if you have made the code in 2016 and you're sending to somebody who's already using 2016, you don't have to tell anything. Or if you have made the program, this program in the lower version, let's say 2007, is sending it to the person who is using the upper version, right, like 2010, 2013 or 16, no need to tell them. Automatically your code will capture that library, so you don't have to tell them. It is only for those who are using the lower version and you have made the code on the higher version, like I have made the code on 2016. Otherwise, rest everything works the same way, right? So this is the code for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm just gonna some backspace here so that you can see the entire code, and you can pause the video and you can type in, and when you type in, trust me, you will learn a lot. So this is the entire code, and I guess now you can see the entire code. Yeah, there we go, right? So this is all. Now, well, thank you so much for this wonderful question again, Mr. Alam, and keep writing me in, and guys, keep supporting the channel. If you have any questions, please let me know about it, and till then, have a great learning. I will be back very soon, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.